do what you say you'll do with the money, spend it responsibly, and not just take it and run away with the money, right? So the very first thing is they look a lot on your character as a person, because they need to determine that when they put the money with you, you're not going to mess up and run away with it or do something bad, right? So I'll say character starts from there. But if you actually want to make impactful changes, also you need to make that into because I mean there are a lot of bad things that you could do to try to fake your results. So for example, instead of actually going out there and making a useful product and like getting a lot of users, you could go out and pay a company to make a lot of fake accounts, for example, right? You can do that, and you can go around and say, yeah, I've got 100,000 users in my first month. But you will know that you didn't actually make anything significant. The point isn't to get the 100,000 users. The point is, the 100,000 users is validation that you made something useful. If you just buy that, you don't prove anything, especially to yourself, right?
Would you say that is like somewhat similar to how people would say to chase your passions rather than chase the money and the money will follow? Would that be a similar concept?
No, I don't think that's true. Alright? I mean, I do believe that there are avenues where you can sort of marry your passion with something that makes money, right? So, for example, maybe you love animals. It doesn't mean you have to work in a zoo and and confirm when you work with animals you're going to make lots of money. It doesn't work that way. But you can do things like maybe you can open a pet store, for example, right? You can still work with animals, you sell pet related things, and you make money. So it's not just follow your passion and you're gonna make money. That you have to have a game plan, right?
I mean, you have the experiences, like more experience than probably all of us here combined. So, what advice would you give to like these young individuals looking to enhance their product development capabilities, like for more specifically?
Wow, you say like that until I'm like very old at that. I'm like
No
older than
lah,
everybody here.
Experience, what age, ma?
Sorry, what's the question again?
Oh, can you give any advice to these like young people here for their looking to enhance like further skills that they can equip themselves with before jumping into the professional world?
Oh, so okay. So actually, IT is pretty unique. This applies to IT. It doesn't really apply to other fields. Whatever you build, even when you're a student, right? Even before college, right? If you built it when you're in high school or whatever, it's equally valid compared to if you built it when you're working. What do I mean by that? If you build an e-wallet system, for example, in college, right? That experience has valuable as if you build an e-wallet system, 10 years of working, right? Because you learn something, you learn how to build this e-wallet system. It doesn't matter when you did it. It doesn't matter whether you did it now or in high school or later on in your career. It's valid. You learn how to do this thing, right? No one can take that away from you. This is something very unique to IT because the resources to learn anything in IT is out there. It's all for free. It just requires your dedication and your time, right, to actually learn how to do it and actually go there and do it, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter when you do it. So you can start building your tech skills today. I would recommend that you just build something that you think is cool, right? Right now you don't have to build things for clients. No, when you go out there and work and right, clients will tell you what you need to build. I want you to build this system that does this. I want you to use this language or this framework. You don't really have a say. But today when you're in college, you don't have those constraints. So just build things that you think is cool, right? That you've never seen people build before.
I mean, talking about opportunities and information available, I mean, it's readily available out there. I know some of you here might ask the question, where exactly can I find this information?
Stack Overflow.
Yeah. So, without further ado, like our previous slide, yeah, you can join My Startup Devs community, right? My Startups community. So, My Startups community contains networking opportunities, mentorship opportunities, events, conferences, workshops, whatever. Okay? Anything that will help boost your career, your professional development, and your personal development. Similar to that is our Cable app, which I know some of you just came in. So, Cable app is essentially a career launchpad for young talents. You just download our application. Not only will you be able to find and secure jobs in the future, you can also access our previously held coffee chats as part of our youth employment initiative, which we held online, which you can replay and watch because we've touched topics based not only on tech, but also on personal development as well. So that's fantastic.
Oh, also, Afif over there is from My Startup Dev, guys. He's handing out.
Giveaway.
Yeah, he's handing out some stickers and goodies. So please feel free to grab some from him, right?
Okay, great. Last question to sum up the day is that, remember, we are not saying that you're old, okay? We're not saying that you're old, Just to highlight before I say this question, but what advice would you give for everyone here? What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Buy Ethereum.
Buy Ethereum?
No, buy Ethereum.
Oh, Ethereum, okay.
No, buy Bitcoin. Okay, on a serious note, I think that that's a good question because I don't really regret what I learned. I think I would have spent more time building stuff. That was cool because when I was in college or uni like you guys, I played lots of games. I did that a lot, and so I somehow wish that I actually worked on some more projects and stuff, which I thought was cool.
What games did you play?
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Any skills to play that? Okay. But I mean, you got your achievements, your levels and stuff to prove, to brag about, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad. So thank you guys for attending our coffee chat session. We can have... Yeah, we're doing a Q&A. Yeah, okay. Press the thing. Yeah, I'm pressing the thing. Yeah. See? Ta-da! Q&A. So yeah, scan that Q&A form for your Q&A, questions and answer, anything. You can ask.
So okay guys, so you can scan this, right? Scan this on your phone, you can submit your questions. We know that you guys are maybe a bit shy, maybe a bit quiet, right? So you can just basically ask questions anonymously lah. Alright? So anything you guys want to know, your lecturer told me that you guys are into mobile development, right? We built an app, so it's kind of like I kind of know a little bit about mobile development, just a little bit, right? So if you guys got any questions, you are having design decisions, anything related to like say product design, I'd be happy to answer. Okay.
Now we live in a democratic nation, ladies and gentlemen. So please feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. Of course, because through our polling system, you can obviously vote for which question you'd like to be answered last. So yeah, ask anything at all, please. Anything at all.
Yeah, we'll just give you guys 5 minutes to come back questions, and I'll come back. All right.
2-3 minutes, yeah.
No, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh, to compile a question.
By the way, guys, the Zeus Coffee vouchers that we're giving out are not physical vouchers; they're e-vouchers. So you will have to fill out the attendance form, right? So that we can send you the e-voucher later. Yeah. So that's another reason to fill out the form. I would have loved to show Okay, I think I'll start answering questions as they come up, so I can get as many questions out of the way as possible. All right. So advice on launching an app with has few bugs as possible. You can't, right? When you're gonna build stuff, you're gonna have bugs. What I can say is that you shouldn't look at as bugs as something to avoid. You should try to minimize them, but of course you have to account that they're gonna happen. When you're gonna build an update, a new feature or whatever, right? You're gonna have bugs. So the best way is to actually make an allowance for it. So treat it as if every release you're gonna do is gonna have bugs. Make sure that you do like a testing period right after, right? Have a plan. You know, if something is, if you're working on like say a payment system and it's very crucial, you can't have that mess up. Then make sure you're able to roll it back, for example, right? Yeah, I mean, other than really just testing, right? You can't just theoretically try to prevent bugs. So just testing is, I would say, is the main way, right? Test as much as you can. After a while, you will, especially if you launch something live to people, you will get a good sense of what kind of things users would do. If ever your teammate says something like, "Oh, surely nobody would try to do this thing," right? Someone will do it. Okay, right? If you have like a phone number field over there, and you say nobody is going to be dumb enough to write 123 as 01 ONE TWO, like put letters inside the field, right? Someone will do it. Okay. So whenever the sentence starts with "surely nobody will," whatever, someone will do it. Okay, just assume that. Just wondering if there any specific programming language that you all use in the industry to build the app, like normal Kotlin and Swift for iOS or Flutter. We actually built it fully in Flutter, right? We actually built the app. We tried to build it in React Native early on, because React Native is actually the most popular sort of industry standard right now. But I just had a personal choice. I didn't like it. Yeah, if you want, I could go into like a whole thing about why I used it for 6 months and I decided to switch to Flutter. But it was a gamble. Flutter was new at the time. It wasn't as well supported as React Native, but it was a gamble. But actually, it paid off because Flutter grew a lot in the past 3 years, so it paid off. Okay. Well, how come the questions disappeared? Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I would say if you're gonna build anything which is not like a game that requires like very fast latency, you should use Flutter, because you just basic code it once and then you don't have to build 2 separate apps, right? The only reason I think you'll use native nowadays, and the gap for this is closing, but native had better latency. So you're gonna make like Mobile Legends or something like that, then yeah, still make a native app. But otherwise, for most use cases, if you're gonna make Candy Crush or whatever that doesn't require reflexes, yeah, just use Flutter. Is it possible to actually make an app through no code using AI tools to code for you? Yeah, you can, but from coming from a developer, I'm going to be very biased that no, you shouldn't, right? The no code movement, I think, has its place, right? You think about things like Excel, for example. Excel is kind of like an early version of no code, right? You can put in formulas, you can do a bunch of stuff with it, and it's made for non-developers to be able to use. Finance people use it all the time, right? So no code is kind of like that place. Basically, the world is short of developers, doesn't have enough developers, and one of the ways they're trying to solve that is to come up with more no-code tools, so more non-developers can fill in the gaps of certain things that developers used to have to do for them, right? So it has its place, but I think if you are learning to be a developer, I think that you should aspire to go beyond no-code, right? That's just my opinion. Besides Stack Overflow, is there any platform to ask coding questions? Yes, you guys are really lucky that you guys live in the world of ChatGPT and large language models, right? So for me, for the past decade, I've been using Stack Overflow. But recently, when I have like new interns and everything, they tend to all be using ChatGPT or maybe Google Bard or whatever, right? So it can be useful, although when I tried it, Google Bard and ChatGPT sometimes give me fake information, and it sounds very convincing, right? They'll basically tell you, you ask it how to do something, it comes out some code that looks work well, you put it in, and then it doesn't work, and then you just scold it back. Hey, you just lied to me. This function doesn't exist. And then the guy will go, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, you're right, it doesn't exist, use this instead. And you do this 4 or 5 times, right? So I don't know what happened. ChatGPT was good when it first started, but I find myself going back to Stack Overflow now. Yeah. My non-IT friend wants to be a developer. What's a good place to start learning besides YouTube? Is Python good? First and foremost, I will say that not everyone has the aptitude to be a good developer, right? if you want to ask your non-IT friend why does he want to be a good developer, and his answer because the money is better, right? Then I mean I get it, I get why people want to do it, but you won't enjoy it, right? IT, as you guys all know, requires a lot of time, effort. You're constantly failing, right? If you code something and it works, you get very suspicious, right? Like, why is it working, right? Yeah. That's because you tend to fail like 9 times and succeed on 10th try. So if people don't enjoy some part of coding and they keep failing, and right, chances are they're gonna drop out. So I think the first and foremost thing is your friend should be straight about what he wants to do, whether he really enjoys coding or not. Yeah.
Any questions?
Test. Oh yeah, test. Okay, wait. My web development versus mobile. Hey, web. Go down a bit. Web development versus mobile development, which is more preferred to start first? I don't think there's a preferred. I mean, it depends on you. If you like web development, go do web development. You like mobile development, go do mobile development. I think your first point of entry should be whatever interests you, right? Personally, if you think you want it to be more flexible, I would say web development, simply because you could sort of use it on every platform. If you build a website, it can be used on the phone. Phones can go to it. It can be used on your computer, right? So just for flexibility's sake, I would say web development. For me, I built my first like HTML website when I was in Form 3, right? Today, like I think in college and in workplaces, it's sort of like understood that you know HTML already. No one's gonna go and teach you HTML. Yeah. When you are interviewing a candidate, what gives you the wow moment? And if there is this wow moment, what salary range will you offer the candidate?
Great question. Feel like me, right?
Well, salary range really depends on seniority. Like, are you offering him a senior development? Is it a junior development role? Things like that, right? What gives me a wow moment? That's kind of hard because wow moment means it surprises me, right? Well, I think the first, most legitimate thing for me, right, is if he can show me the stuff that he's done, and that the things are impressive, right? It should be he shows me the projects, and the projects tell me that that person's impressive, not just him saying, yeah, I'm so good at XYZ things, right? Yeah, it's like show and don't tell. So one of the main issues that I normally have to deal with when I look at people's portfolio is that when it's a group project. So if they build this really amazing project, for example, and it's a group project, you can't really tell what did that guy actually do, Was he the one leading the project and doing the bulk of the work? Was he just, did he just put the titles there and then, put his name on the project team, right? So if that person can show me something that is, show me his portfolio and the portfolio is good, and he can show me that he did it by himself, I think that's a win for me lah. Yeah. I always see those IT meme about software developers copy and pasting code from Stack Overflow or somewhere else. Is it true in the real industry? Yes, it's very true. Right? There's a reason why it's meme, because there are nuggets of truth in there. That being said, you can only get away with copy and pasting so far, because even if you go to Stack Overflow, most of the time the examples won't be exactly what you need. It might not even be the language that you're using, right? So it's important to be able to understand your own code, that person's code, and how it can be used, right? Most of the time, you're not going to get away with one-to-one copy and pasting. Yeah. So can I get you so far? Are you battling ChatGPT in your daily work? Because people have this kind of mindset where they feel coding is easy when you have ChatGPT, but we know it's not. No, I'm not. Because if you are referring to non-developers' perception of what we developers do in the office, I would think it's the same, right? They think it's magic, basically. Non-developers have no idea what coding is like, even before ChatGPT, right? The mindset has always been like, as a joke, when things explode, when nothing bad happens, right? They're like, why do we even pay you? But when things explode, right, they're also like, why do we even pay you, right? So they don't actually understand, and that's why it circles back to my whole thing about communication. One of the most important things that you can learn as a soft skill, right, is to be able to communicate the technical things to non-technical people, right? Use whatever analogies, right? Because they're always going to ask you, oh, why did this thing go wrong? Or why is the system slow when this happens? What happened last weekend? How come the system went down? Things like that, right? And you need to be able to explain to them, oh, imagine it's like a pipe, right? If one part of the pipe gets stuck, then the whole thing goes down, and things like that, right? So you need to be, one of the most important skills is to be able to communicate effectively to non-technical people about what's going on in the technical side, right? This is also, that's not only true when things go bad, this is also true when you are talking about things like timeline. Oh, we need 3 months to come out with this feature. This other feature only requires 1 month. If you want me to do this feature first, I need to delay the project by another 2 weeks, right? This is another very important part where you need to justify to the business stakeholder, because in their mind they just think of dollars and cents. Oh, 2 weeks means 500,000, or 2 weeks means 200,000 delay, right? So you need to be able to explain to them why in terms that they can understand. So that's a very, very useful skill. Not everybody has that.
Any questions?
When we are interviewing for a job, what project would you suggest for us to present to the interviewee? I think it will really depend on the company you're applying to. So if you're going to be applying to a company that does mobile app development, then I would think that showing a portfolio about what a mobile app that you've made will be very relevant, right? Because if you're, if you are applying to say a blockchain company and you show them something that's totally non-related, I mean, yeah, you did see, they know you can code, but it's not really what they need for that position, right? Yeah. So I would just say try to show them a project which is more in line with whatever company or position you're applying for. Yeah.
Maybe you can add on a little bit towards for that. Like for example, let's give real world example to the people here, right? I love real world examples. Like you take me for example. Take me for example, right? So he's from a technical background, but I'm not. I'm absolutely not. You obviously cannot guess what I studied. So I studied acting. So I'm an actor, right? But I applied to this tech startup, but how did I exactly get in? I did present certain projects that I was involved in, but they weren't exactly tech related. Perhaps you could say what you thought about the projects that I showed to you that made you think, wow, this guy can hire.
Again, I think that's very role specific, right? So if I was hiring an IT developer and you presented me non-IT projects, then you wouldn't have gotten the job, lah, right?
No chance at all.
Huh?
No chance at all. What if I presented to you like I organized a ramen eating competition? Something absurd. But I organized it well. Can you still hire me or not? Give me a chance.
If I'm hiring a French translator and you tell me you speak German very well, then it's not relevant, lah, right? So it goes back to the point of like whatever you're applying for, you should show something as relevant as possible, right? You're applying for web development, show a web project. You're applying for mobile app development, show a mobile project. Applying for some blockchain engineer, show blockchain related project, right? Yeah, that's just giving you your best chance, lah.
Well, okay. Luckily I didn't apply for Okay, let's just leave like 1 more minute for any other questions. Or if you guys want to do not put on Slido your phone no battery, it's 10 o'clock. Phone right now battery. But yeah, you can raise your hand as well. We'll get to you. Any questions whatsoever? You got homework questions? You can call this homework helper.
No, you got homework question, go chat GPT, okay? Yeah, so just a couple more minutes, right? If you have any questions, if not, we just move on now.
So those that just came in per se, there are some couple stuff I need to go through with you, but yeah, for those that came in, maybe you have any questions you have about product development, innovation.
Maybe startups, for example, startups are interesting as well.
Yeah.
So once again, guys, whoever wants to get Zeus coffee, make sure you A, fill out the form, right? The attendance form, and B, download cable. Then you can come and show us, and then you'll get your free Zeus coffee, okay? Okay. Alright, let's look at another question. For blockchain and AI technology, which has more market in the future in your opinion? I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you exactly, right? But on my opinion, I think right now AI is the new hot thing, right? Simply because uh, large language models like ChatGPT have become popular, right? And everybody's trying to find ways to apply it. And I think it's evolving really fast suddenly, right? So I would say AI right now has a lot of market value. Blockchain has kind of fizzled out a little bit because ever since the inception of blockchain, they haven't really found a good use case. They always say, yeah, you can do great things with it. There's cryptocurrency, there's NFTs, there's like, oh, you can make a voting system that's anonymous or secure and things like that. But there hasn't been a success case yet, right? I'm not saying it won't be successful, it won't block in the future. AI was the same way. When AI first came out, right, it was really hyped up, and then nothing happened. People got really disappointed in it. And then suddenly, a few years later, ChatGPT comes out and explodes again, right? So I can't really say. But I will say all those things, like say, for now, AI and data science, the large language models has actually changed the way people approach AI as well, right? So a lot of companies, like startups I know, startup founders that I worked with, and right, that actually have had AI based startup, they've had to revamp their systems once large language models came out. So it's really changed the game. So I think it's actually a very good time to get into AI if you're interested in that field. Yeah. I heard that for software developer will not just spend the whole day in coding, like only 30% of the time. What? Oh, okay. So I heard that only software developer will not just spend the whole day in coding, like only 30% of the time is only coding, while about 70% in meetings. Okay, so that largely depends on the kind of company that you join. I can see how that can be true. First of all, I'll start the coding bit, right? As a developer, I think you can only really focus and do very high quality work, maybe about 4 hours of coding a day, right? After the 4 hours, then you start to like, get make worse and worse coding decisions, right? It differs from person to person, but personally for me, it's about 4 hours a day, right? Um, the thing about meetings can be true depending on what company you join, right? I have worked in companies where developer is more of a bao kind of role. Like you are the developer, but you're also there to go meet the client and gather the requirements of the client. And then you're also there to go do the presentation and the testing and the UATs and all this kind of thing, right? And the deployments. So in those kind of cases, it's possible, right? It is sometimes common that unfortunately you might join a company where people other than the developer doesn't know anything about technicals. So when the client comes and says, oh, why is there delay? Or why the system went down, right? Why the feature came out not as promised, right? Things like that. No one else in the company is confident to go and explain to the client, so they go and send the software developer. Sometimes things like that. I'm not saying that it should be done that way, but I'm saying it does happen somewhere, right? But ideally, it shouldn't be that way. Yes, there's lots of meetings also. You need to plan all that kind of thing. But in terms of coding, maybe about 4 hours a day is your maximum to work.
I believe we have one last question that we can touch on.
But that one?
Yeah, that one.
Does my company offer internship? Yes, we do. We have done internships before, right? But we exclusively hire through our app because it makes sense, right? Like we came up with a product to help interns and fresh grads get jobs, and right, and we don't use our app for that. That's kind of being a hypocrite, right? Yeah. But as part of that, it's also proof of concept. It's also for us to be users as well, to see, oh, actually doing this was actually pretty hard or difficult, right? And then so let's change that. So it's also for us to make our product better. We tend to use our product to hire our interns as well, yeah.
Great. New question.
Oh, okay. Another thing is that there are a lot of startups which are hiring interns, and My Startup Dev is also part of this as well. So earlier they touched a little bit about what My Startup Dev is. They actually represent a whole bunch of startups that the government has funded, right? So actually these are not random small startups. They actually got funding, so they're actually going somewhere, right? So if you want to start a career in startups, they're actually an excellent resource because they can actually connect you to all these startups that are up and coming. Yeah, so for those who actually are looking for fresh graduate or internships, there's a lot of tech related jobs on Cable right now lah. Yeah, due to our partnerships.
So yes, thank you very much, you guys, for. I think we still have 1 more minute. Maybe do one more question. Last one.
Will it be hard to get a job in IT if I'm not very strong in programming skills? There are other adjacent places you can go. You don't have to just become a programmer if you're studying IT. So, example, maybe you have better soft skills, right? So, a lot of companies want technical sales. That means you sell software, for example, right? If you work in, like, say, AWS, Amazon, right? They've got lots of different products. They need someone who can talk to people and sell, but at the same time sort of understands what each product does, how to arrange them together to package it for a company solution, right? So these guys don't have to code, but they still need to know technical, how all these things work, right? So those are kind of roles where you can be in. Another kind of area is like, say, maybe you could be a business analyst. So that means when a company is building a software for a client, they need to send a team to them to understand what is the client's requirements, all those kind of things, right? So they will go and meet the client, they'll go and ask them questions and gather the requirements, and then they'll be able to build a list of things that the technical team can actually use to build our features, right? So you don't actually have to code as a career. There are other adjacent places where having an IT degree can also get you something.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, you guys, for attending. And I said it once, I said it twice, we'll say it again for the 4th, 5th time. Please do scan the attendance form, especially for those who just came in for your attendance. It's highly encouraged for you to do so because it will show that you participated in a benchmark of the future. That means you are eager enough to equip yourself with the knowledge within this short 45-minute session to bridge the gap and get you closer to your professional goals.
Oh, and also thank you, Mr. Ong, for letting us have this time today.
Actually, we prepared a souvenir.
Oh, thank you.
Yay! Yay!
Thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic. So, yes, the attendance form is right there for you to be kept up to date as well as join. There's another one. So once you guys have scanned this, you just take a quick screen of the room. Okay. Everybody scan that. Okay, fantastic. So now can you go to my channel? So yeah, like we mentioned, you guys were looking for opportunities to learn more about the tech space, the tech community. You guys have found it with my startup communities. Notice the Leng Chai that you saw in the video just now, right? He's actually joining us live in person here today in the first row. So you guys want to get his autograph or whatever? For that can lah. Besides that, joining the My Startup community with that QR code right there, so you can learn more about future workshops, events, etc. And also not to forget that one of the main purposes here, instead of you guys swiping all day without your Kindle Gold, because you can't swipe unlimited times, right? And cannot find the right partner. Don't find the right partner first, find the right career. Make your parents proud. It's a match. Join Cable today. QR code right here. Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys.
我刚刚发错封给你点什么？我刚发错封给你点，那这样。是一样的，只是那个是口上。对。随便填。
Okay, so good morning everyone. I hope everyone got some insights on what is the tech industry currently looking for, and thanks to Daniel for giving us such a sessions, because I believe most of you are preparing for your internships, and this is a good opportunity for you to know what you need to prepare for, right? So now we continue with the lecture. No. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna give you your attendance code later. Alright. Once you have signed in, then we shall continue our lecture. One more chapters next week. Okay. So you all, if you want to connect with the cable team here, you can come down and take their contacts. Or if you want an interview session straight away, maybe you can do it now. Right?
Download the app first.
讲完他从他从哪个手那个应该从画面。看这个影片是我后面加上去，因为我找不到这个画，然后后面找到这个。OK。
也有自己。主观会比较难。老师给你们时间考虑。
因为我们突然觉得我时间该要拖，看看因为我们叫我们3日，我们有东西到我们3日做完，然后我说就可以改一点东西，所以讲可以这样看给。
第一组还是个好处，第一组比较是好处。
Okay, so this is your attendance code. You can sign now.
7:24。
Thank you, Mr. Alright, thank you. Bye.
这样好像这个画放哪去了？
Are you all still okay?
No.
Not okay. Are you okay? All good? Some of you look smart today. Means you just finished your presentation, so you are going for presentations. Okay. So it's 11 o'clock now, so I'll prefer to do the lecture next week because I think a lot of you are not here today, right? So I'm not sure whether next week I can still see most of you all here or not, right? Okay, so remember your assignment is going to be in week 13, right? Exact date of handing in your documentations, your zip file will be on Friday. Alright, Friday end of the day, which is Friday 11:59 p.m. That's the deadline. So it will be after your presentations. Okay, once you presented, and if there is no amendment that you need to do, you can straight away hand in. You don't have to wait for the deadline. But if there's an amendment that you need to do, you need to make changes, then you hand in. Okay, clear? So we will have 2 weeks buffer because I believe not all of you will be able to present on week 13. But handing in will be on Friday. What time? Before midnight. Okay? All okay with this? Or you want earlier?
Friday 11:59 p.m. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or you want to make it earlier? Sunday. This Sunday.
No.
Alright. Okay. So I think is sufficient for all of you. Okay, so just make sure you fulfill. If you want some guidelines on what you need to do, just refer back on the rubrics. Okay, just refer back on the rubrics, and it will help you to. Yeah.
好多东西做。
Any questions about your assignment so far?
老师没有不顺利，没有不顺利。这个礼拜
Okay.
快3个，
All questions.
这个礼拜3个。
Come.
这
Let's
个
see if
方
I
面
can
就
help
4
you.
个啊。也没有进，没有，下一
Now that's a problem, not a question.
你们这样没有好，
Alright.
还没有动过。
Okay, so I hope by end of this week, right, your assignment is already 80% completed.
我可要做好竞争力，
Okay, by end of this week.
因为
Then,
那时候跑100 processing，
if you are
跑
presenting
跑
on
烂一
Monday,
次40
then
分钟，
you have
在
to
这边写歌。
make sure everything done by Sunday night already.
你是从
Okay.
整就现在有这个从那边拿，然后改一点歌词。
Any
我是
questions?
自己我进去 soundtrack，还有那些 instrument 的。
So if there's no question, we shall end
我就
today.
一直评
Thank
评
you
到好
very
像觉
much
得好
for
听，
coming.
就是
And I really hope
然后
that
begin 出来
the
然后
the
再
coffee
选，
sessions just
因为我
now
放4个
give you some
不同的乐器，
some
那我
of
选
the
我主要的乐器，
insights
然后
hopefully.
对照它的拍
Okay.
我去填歌词。
Right. And the juice coffee
凯耀也是这
Make
样
sure
做
you，
他跟着我，
get
还
it
是一
up.
天就做出来了。
can enjoy it.
我觉得表现
Right. So that's all. Thank you everyone. I'll see you all next
这种
week.
那样我觉得很难，很快。
And another advice is